Prodigy of Mobb Deep is our guest for another 45 minutes or so. Then we're going to get a pop-in from Mike Adams on the police and the feds raiding folks selling mangoes, papayas, other evil things like raw milk cheese, and they got them on $120,000 bond each. A Publix store, again, to be technical, I bought food at another store this weekend, but my wife went to Whole Foods and got the raw milk cheese. It's our favorite. We've been buying it for a couple of years. Now that it's available, it tastes completely different. So are they going to raid Whole Foods here in Austin? I mean, this is incredible stuff, so that's coming up. Now, following this, where's the stock market right now? Because, guys, I know it's plunging as we speak. Dow plunges 350 points on total fear, and it's still dropping. The dollar's dropping. Gold has blasted up to, what is it, 1,680 something? Now, give me the latest on that. It's all moving up quick because they're globally devaluing the dollar. They're talking about tax increases and super Congress. This is a tax increase to devalue your money. And if you're wealthy, it's going to hurt you. If you're middle class, it's going to hurt you really bad. And if you're poor, you're in trouble because the wages aren't going up, but what you can buy with that money's going down. My grandma on her Social Security, she worked at a print shop till she was 70-something years old. And my grandma can't basically live without us helping her. Okay, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Think about what's happening. This is bondage. This is bondage. The globalists are destroying the world economy, their carbon taxes, all of it. We're going to be breaking it down. Going back to Prodigy of Mobb Deep, a legendary Grammy Award-winning rapper who goes right back to the start of all the big superstars we have today. He was getting into his awakening, and he started to, you'd gotten to the point of talking to folks selling books on the street. Please continue.
Yeah, so there was this guy named Dr. York. You know, he had a community in Brooklyn called the Ansar Law community. And basically he had his people out in the street selling books and the Muslim oils and different things like that, like incense and stuff like that. So I used to stop at the table to pick up this coconut oil because I liked how it smelled, you know, because the girls liked it. So at the table, they would sell these books written by Dr. York. You know what I mean? And there was a book. The first books that I read were books on like the holidays. One book was about Christmas. One was about Easter, and it showed like the origin of these pagan, you know, evil holidays. So I picked it up, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Because they had the Christmas book had the Santa Claus looking like Satan on the cover. So it was just like strange, and I never saw nothing like that before. You know, I was only like 16. So I picked up the book, and I started getting into it, and I started learning who Dr. York is and what he's about and the stuff that he teaches. And then I started reading a lot of his books. And I realized that, you know, this dude was basically teaching, you know, people, especially black people, you know, about our origin and where we come from and how we, you know, we have a great history in this world and how we were, like, basically brainwashed, you know, and soul-washed of all of our history and of who we are and everything.
Well, that's right. If you go back to Roman times, no one looked at and said black men were inferior. I mean, that wasn't even, you know, debated or discussed. And you can lay out your historical review. But what really, from my research, you go back 500 years ago, they wanted to start this transatlantic slave trade, and they had indentured servants who were white in Europe, but they said, hey, we can use Bible passages and distort them, dealing with Ham and Cain and Abel, and say that these people deserved to be slaves, and it actually took some selling, but because the sailors themselves from Europe were mainly pressed and slaves on the ships, if you actually research it, I mean, most of them were captured and put on the ships to run them. That's why there were so many people breaking off and becoming pirates. That then they sold that idea, and that really is an idea that didn't exist till, what, 500 years ago?
Yeah, exactly. You know, they flipped it in a lot of the Bible, so-called Bible stories and all that, or whatever. So, you know, Dr. York was just putting it out there, you know what I mean, and really, you know, exposing it to the world, you know, and sharing the information with everybody and accepting everybody also. You no matter what color you are, no matter what race you are, he was teaching that this is information that need to be, just that needs to be put out there, needs to be learned, that can help save your soul.
When did you start learning about the Illuminati? Because you told me you've seen the Obama deception, the radio show. I said, well, what's your favorite clip? And you said the Bohemian Grove, the David Gergen situation.
Yeah. I mean, through his books, through Doc books, that's how I learned about it. That's how I bumped into it. Because, it all coincides with each other. Once you start learning the origin of things and you start learning, the background of things or what's going on, you're going to stumble on this word Illuminati, and you're going to stumble on, the whole diabolical plan and the whole grand scheme of things of what's happening, you know what I mean? So that's how I bumped into it. And then, later on, years down the line, I started doing research I'm like, this is too unbelievable. The information that I was learning was like too incredible. You know what I mean? So it forces you to do your own research. It forces you, like back then, there wasn't no internet when I was growing up. You know what I mean? So I had to go to the library, you know what I mean, and check books out.
That's what I did, the exact same thing. So you've been awake for close to 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've been learning ever since I was like 16. I've been learning, doing research. So, I'm 36 now. You know what I mean? So that's about, 20 years. You know what I mean? I've been really doing my research, you know what I mean, and studying this whole thing. So I started in the libraries, finding old books and just passing around information that used to get passed around the street, like different VHS videotapes that a lot of the people that I knew in the street life, like a lot of my criminal friends, they weren't all just just dumb criminals running around. A lot of them were very intelligent. You know what I mean? A lot of them.
Well, that's the economy, like they say in The Godfather, that for 100 years they've been shipping the illegal contraband into those black neighborhoods to make that the zone where it was acceptable. So people say, oh, look, these people are criminals. Well, the point is that's the economy that was set up there by the system.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. And it's a it's a stereotypical thing that people look at us like, oh, whatever, he's just or whatever, you know what I mean? But anyway, a lot of my friends, you know what I mean, we would pass around information to each other, videotapes of like, I think it was called Illuminati 2000. It was this crazy show that we used to watch, and it had, I forget the guy's names on there.
Anthony Hilder?
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Hilder, and the other guy with the glasses.
Ted Gunderson. Ted Gunderson. He just died over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan Maxwell.
Oh yeah.
Guy. They used to be on those tapes a lot with Anthony Hilder. So we used to watch those. We used to pass them around, and this is how we got more into it. We like, damn. I started seeing these tapes. I'm like, hold up. This is the same thing that Dr. York was talking about. So the dots started connecting. You know what I mean? When the internet came around, I would research all the things that I was learning from Hilda, Maxwell, York, and from everybody that I bumped into your information, Alex Jones. And I'm like, wow, everybody is saying the same thing. You know what I mean? It got to be real. You know what I mean?
And we'll look at Skull and Bones. ABC got footage. They're worshiping Satan, doing mock human sacrifices. Then I go into Bohemian Grove. Here are the Christian conservative leaders and corporate leaders worshiping a big stone owl and bringing male prostitutes in. And people are like, oh, let them have fun. The point is they're not who they say they are out in the public. Yeah,
they're doing all this ritualistic murder and rituals on little... they molesting little kids, doing satanic sex rituals. Like, this stuff is really going on in this world. Like, you know what I mean? You got sick people like Jeffrey Dahmer and different people like that. And I believe that it was a different background to it, of why he was doing what he was doing. I think it was some ritualistic things going on.
Absolutely. They set him up as one of their little ghouls. They always have their Renfields or their Igors, who are their minion servants. Then I mean, look, it's now come out in the Chicago Tribune that Halliburton and DynCorp run giant child kidnapping rings. Guess who runs most of the private CPS grabbing? DynCorp. And then they get caught in Europe and Asia running little kidnapping rings. Well, they just do it out in the open here and take your kids, and then you don't know where they go. I mean, it came out in CNN in Florida 5 years ago. Thousands of children missing. And they found a bunch of them dead. Nobody gets in trouble. Just like they're dealing the drugs. I want to talk about that with Prodigy Mobb Deep on the other side of this break. We'll give you his websites, tell you about his new book as well. Stay with us.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
Everything is proceeding as the New World Order has foreseen it. Lord Rothschild and Rockefeller are pleased. Gains for the year erased in the stock market, deeper than post-TARP plunge. S&P hits correction territory. Gold soars, then plummets. Dow plummets. Ladies and gentlemen, we told you that as soon as they passed that, the economy would start nosediving. It's designed to do it. But if I don't get into this with you, people are going to get mad, Prodigy. Obviously, out there, constantly, you've been talking about the different icon rappers that are making hundreds of millions of bucks, that many of which you came up with and knew, who are just constantly selling the establishment view of the world, nothing but materialism, and constantly showing Illuminati symbolism. I mean, can you talk about why you think they're doing this? Are they trying to brag that they're with the Illuminati? Do they want to get into the Illuminati? Are they part of the Illuminati? And why are you angry about this?
I mean, it got to a point in my life where I had to step back and look at my own self. You know what I mean? I had to look myself in the mirror like what are you doing? You know what I mean? I was promoting a lot of the wrong things, and at the same time, I was putting the information that I was learning through all these books, from you, from, Hilda, from York, and from everybody that I was learning from. I was putting the information in my music. You know what I mean? I was like mixing the medicine with the food. You know what I mean? So they wouldn't be able to really taste it, but it was in there. You know what I mean?
No, I got it. You were going with the bling and some of the nomenclature, but it was so basically people would come check out the real message.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I had to mix it in there somehow to get to spark people's curiosity. Like, hold up, Prodigy talking about partying and this and that, but hold up, what is he talking about right here? What does this mean? To spark their interest. I was trying to be strategic about it almost. You know what I mean? To spark people's interest and what else I had to say. You know what I mean? And I got to a point in my life and my career where it's easy to get caught up in that lifestyle. You know what I mean? Fast money and all that type of stuff. The sex, drugs, and rock and roll, quote unquote. You know what I mean? So, I had started slipping at some point, and I had to catch myself. You know what I mean? And look myself in the mirror like, yo, dogs, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you really bugging right now. Now it's time to go all the way. You know what I mean? Because you're bugging. You know what I mean? So I had to catch myself, and I got to the point where I just got fed up, and I got pissed off, and I said, you know what? I'm not rocking jewelry no more. Number one, I'm not doing certain things anymore, and I'm doing it to make a statement. You know what I mean? To let people say, yo, why is P doing that? Let's listen to what he has to say. You know what I mean? And basically, I started, looking at the other people in the industry, and I just started picking out certain things that I've seen. Like, why is this person doing this? Jay-Z was just one example of, and one of the biggest examples of, artists in the music industry, you know what I mean? Because he's so popular and so big, and the community where he comes from out there in Brooklyn, this is where, the guy Dr. York is also from. And Jay-Z was part of that community, the Dr. York community, you know what I mean? And he had learned all that information that York was putting out and all the information that I know, you know what I mean? Jay-Z was learning that also. So he knows what time it is, you know what I mean? But he just doesn't promote it.
You're saying bottom line, in a way, he's a turncoat. He knows all this information, but he's clearly decided to join it. He's decided to, hey, I'm gonna Benedict Arnold this.
Yeah, I mean, from the looks of things, it looks like you know, that he has chosen sides. You know what I mean? For lack of a better term, he's chosen a side. You know what I mean? And the side that he chose is money, power, and you know, he doesn't really care to spread any type of information that might help save somebody's soul.